Well, welcome into Extra Time. Thank you for all your questions. Shaka, Paul, Craig, Peter Walton on board too. Managed to keep him for some extra time. Some unhappy Arsenal fans out there, like Jason. Is Unai Emery's decision to start Willock over Mesut Ozil tactical or petty? Paul?
Well, Ozil's got to get in the travelling squad first, hasn't he, to even get a chance of getting
He didn't even get on the bus to Sheffield.
I mean, look, what's going on with Ozil is I've got no idea what's going on with that boy. I really don't know. Is it tactical? I don't think so. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have played Willock today, but...
I mean, he's a good young player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good young player, but I think there's other people on the bench today that was more deserving in getting that start.
I think you should take over at Arsenal.
I agree.
Yeah.
Me and Craig.
Says at the time, it's going to be a £300,000 a week nightmare.
I've forgotten Mark Ogden is also with us. Mark, tactical or petty on the part of Unai Emery?
I think it's probably tactical because he can't rely on Mesut Ozil away from home or at home these days. You know, Mesut Ozil's got to do a lot more when he does play, which isn't very often these days, to warrant inclusion away from... I mean, look, would you take Mesut Ozil to Sheffield United on a Monday night? It's the classic. It's the old Lionel Messi thing, isn't it? Could Messi do it on a Tuesday night at Stoke? Could Mesut Ozil do it on a Monday night at Sheffield United? No. I mean, he just doesn't perform away from home. He doesn't do it often enough. So I think that it may be slightly petty by Unai Emery, but I don't think any manager in the situation that he's in, needing results, is going to be petty with one of his best players. But he's one of his best players that never performs. So the best thing Arsenal could do is get rid of Ozil as quickly as possible and just forget about him, draw the line, move on.
Well, nobody else turned up tonight either for Arsenal, so he's not on his own, is he?
Well, no, you're right. I mean, he couldn't. He never got much of a tune out of anybody else. But I agree with Mark. I mean, at some point they're just going to have to draw a line under the sand with this one. And unfortunately, they rushed into a couple of big contracts. One of them being Mesut Ozil, and I said months ago it was going to be a major noose around the neck of a manager that came in, and it's proven to be the case. Nobody's arguing about his talent, but he hasn't been able to do it often enough, particularly away from home. And at some point, the club are going to have to cut their losses.
Mark
I don't know how they're going to do it though.
Well,
how are they going to do it?
Of Ozil, great player who never performs. That's the best description I've ever heard of Ozil.
Oh well, he has. In all fairness, he has performed on and off.
But
at a time
right
when
now,
What have you done for me lately?
at a time when Arsenal really need him now, when they're rebuilt. Anyway, I don't know. I think we've gone down a road here.
Theoretical question. I know you like theory.
No, I didn't. I thought Mark was still here, but I just wondered if you would ignore him.
Well, no, I mean, you know.
I wasn't sure if he'd left, scoot it off down the pub.
Mark would have still charged. He'd have still charged.
If it was me, if that was me and I was in London, I'd have gone.
Right.
And charged.
And still
charged.
Time, 5:30 here, 10:30 in London, last orders.
Ideal.
Push.
Mark's clearly a dedicated professional. He was going to hang on to the bit. Theoretical question. I know you like theoretical questions, Shaka. You take this first. Daniel, if you inserted Real Madrid into the English Premier League, where would they currently sit in the table?
Where would they currently sit?
Where would they currently sit
in the
if
table?
you took this version of Real Madrid?
Who's third right now?
Long them in. Well, it's not Arsenal. They have the chance
Chelsea.
to go there tonight.
Leicester City.
No, it's still Leicester. Yeah.
I'm going to go fourth.
Fourth? Below
Fourth
Leicester?
right now. Yeah.
Squeeze them in between Leicester and Chelsea?
I'm going to go fifth.
Below Leicester?
No, fifth.
Fifth?
Hang on. He's changing his mind again.
Final answer.
Do I have any advance on fifth?
Why don't you just say top half? Call it a day.
Fifth. Final answer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. There you go. There's a definitive answer. We don't
It's early
know.
doors, though, isn't it?
Interesting theory. But Peter Walton is with us. Ooh. I didn't forget about him, did I? Pearson, one for you, Peter. I promise this is not a setup for a bad joke. Do FIFA and FA have a standard of eyesight for referees? I've never seen a ref wear glasses, but are contacts allowed? What if one pops out? These are questions that demand answers. Peter?
Pete, come on, Pete. What you got here? That's a good
one. Yes, a part of our medical is to make sure that you can actually see.
Yes.
And most referees pass the standard. I say most, but yeah, I always used to pass the standard. And do referees wear glasses? Well, yes, they do. I mean, I've got a pair of glasses on me now, so we do wear glasses and we do wear contact lenses. And if one pops out, then like a player, you'd probably have to stop the game and have it put back in. But you clearly do have a standard of contacts, although some decisions that I gave, you'd probably have to think, does he wear glasses or doesn't he wear glasses?
Something tells me there was another layer to this question.
That reminds me of a former colleague of mine, Jim Leighton, who.
Goalkeeper, great goalkeeper.
To just put it simply, was blind as a bat. And
does that help when you're a goalkeeper?
Another colleague of ours, Casey Keller.
Yeah.
Casey wears contacts,
yeah.
and Jim wore contacts. And if you ever remember, for those that remember Jim Leighton of Aberdeen, Scotland, and Manchester United, Jim used to put the most amount of Vaseline above his eyes. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's an ugly so-and-so at the best of times, you know what I mean? Sure, Jim's not going to see this. But, and that was just to stop. That was just to stop the sweat running down into the eyes, because once the sweat runs down into the eyes, then he really is snookered.
Yeah. I've heard that's a valid tactic.
And he was playing for Scotland once, and Ferguson, Sir Alex never knew, he was temporary in charge at the time, he never knew apparently that he wore contacts and was...
Until he called him Kevin Keegan.
Flummoxed when he found out. So it's not just referees that are blind.
Wasn't Gunny at Norwich? Wasn't he a little bit?
Ryan?
Aye. He was struggling, wasn't he?
Right.
Well, I'm sure there is. I mean, the law averages.
A lot of goalkeepers.
I mean, they put it one way. There's 4 people in the studio here, and there's 2 people with glasses on.
Yeah.
And 1 with a pair on the desk. So. Yeah. Anyway, it's
one with contacts.
Goalie?
And one with contacts.
Our colleague Robbie Mustoe always talks about being colourblind and trying to play.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the reason?
Yeah.
Poor old
Wasn't
Rob.
always sure about the
I played with
colour of the opponent's
Aaron
shirt.
Dezu, who was colourblind. And one time, I think we were playing Arsenal, we had to change strips because he couldn't tell you difference.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't realise Mustoe was colourblind, is it?
Yeah. Once upon a time, one of his bosses told him to go on, and that the opponents were wearing green, and he couldn't. He said, "Boss, I can't go on. I can't tell the colour of the shirt."
A great excuse, that.
That explains a lot with Mustoe.
Mark, we've kept you here for all the really important questions. Julia with the most important one of the night. Best football watching snack food. Oh. As a man who frequents British press boxes, you're probably an expert in this. Best football watching snack food.
Yeah, you usually get pretty bad food in English grounds. So can I say that when you go to Germany, you get the bratwurst. They're the best.
Oh yeah.
German bratwurst.
Absolutely.
It's not so great in the Premier League. We tend to get the dregs really. It's you know, in the Premier League contract, all Premier League clubs have to provide a hot meal for journalists, but doesn't have to be tasty. It just has to be hot. So.
Come on, Oggy. Man City's not bad. Man City's
I tell you what, Chelsea's the best. Chelsea's got this fantastic pre-match buffet. It's Chelsea, so it's what you'd expect in West London. But I don't want to kind of name and shame the worst clubs, because Man United think I've got it in from at the moment, but I haven't. It's just that their food isn't very good.
I can concur.
As long as it's hot.
No, I concur. Yeah. It's Man United's food is like it's like a slop. it's like a disdain to journalists and media. That is correct.
Yeah.
Why we need to feed these?
I was at Newcastle recently for the United game, and the choice was a veggie burger or a beef burger, and honest to God, you could not tell the difference between one and the other. So.
It was hot though, at least. Yeah.
I have to say,
in a bar.
I have to move on. But when Birmingham City were in the Premier League, I can tell you, it was
shocking.
It was the choice of a pie, or a pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the good pies.
I'm telling you, Birmingham City.
A
good Midlands pie, though. Peter, I think you may be an expert on this. Ice cream, I'm being told. You a little penchant for ice cream?
Yeah, OK. Let me just clear that one up very quickly. Yeah, it was a really hot day, and I had an ice cream and was caught on live TV eating ice cream.
That's right.
I wasn't refereeing at the time. But going back to that question, though, it's OK for journalists, it's OK for players to say they had nice food after the game or before the game. From a refereeing point of view, it depended on the result of the game, whether or not you got food or not. Whether it was any good is another thing. So, you know, I can't answer that question, to be honest with you.
If you'd had a bad game, or if you had maybe slightly gone against the home side, Pete, and somebody brought tea into the dressing room after, would you drink it, or would you check it?
You say that, but I've actually had a game where the rolls or buns to eat after the game were brought in by the secretary, who just threw them on the floor and walked out. So it gives you some idea. It gives you some idea of the world and the environment that I used to work in.
Hey, as long as they were hot, Peter. As long as they were hot.
Well, then clearly, then you've got to be sharp and invoke the 3-second rule. Which means as long as they're not on the floor.
Of course.
5 seconds.
Is your rule 5 seconds?
5 seconds.
All right.
Happy days.
That'll do. That will do. We'll be snacking tomorrow on the Champions League, which is back, by the way.
Hey!
All those Tuesday games to digest, and we'll be doing it for you on the next edition of the show. Hope you'll join us for that.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.